The first annual for Absolute Batman is finally out, and we're going to talk about it with these three amazing stories. Let's check it out. Hello, everyone. Danny here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Batman Annual number one. This is a new book from DC Comics, part of the Absolute Universe. This is the first annual for Absolute Batman, so it is a fifth week in October. So that means that we get some annual, some little books to kind of close out the month before everything kind of comes back to its monthly cadence. This is one I had been waiting for a long time. It's got three different stories, so we're going to dive into each one of them. We'll take a look at all the covers, and then we'll wrap up the video. In the first story, we have megastar artist Daniel Warren Johnson with his take on Absolute Batman. I Before I get into the story, I have to say Daniel Warren Johnson is a perfect artist to bring into this world with this character specifically. I think Wonder Woman would also work, but the brutality that this Batman has shown compared to the counterpart, in the regular universe, the way that this Batman fights, it's so gritty, so violent. There's a lot of really cool takedowns, a lot of moves, and that kind of dynamicism, that kind of kinetic energy is where Daniel Warren Johnson excels at when it comes to the art. We also get a great story of Bruce standing up for what he believes when he thinks that somebody's doing the wrong thing, but of course he gets pushed to the edge, and then Absolute Batman just has no other option but to kick a lot of ass. But we get to see a little bit of how the machinations worked in the background. Where does Batman get Arsenal from? Like, he has to go to a different city to do all that, and this is kind of where he runs into that issue. Things outside of Gotham are not, although Gotham has its own problems. Things outside of Gotham are not any better a lot of the time, and we know that when Bruce sees that the weak are getting picked on, the weak are being uh, you know for lack of a better word, terrorized. This is when he steps in, and this is what this issue really focuses on. So yeah, Batman kicks a lot of ass. Batman takes on big issues here. I love it. I love how much effort and care has been put into this great story, which not only has some really gnarly moments like bones popping out, people getting their heads stomped, wrestling moves, of course, because it is a Daniel Warren Johnson book. But on top of that, we get some really cool um, kind of the origin of where Batman ended up getting that giant Batmobile. So yeah, this story really had everything. It's great. It's full of all this. It's kind of bookend by a brief moment with Bruce and his dad, which who don't we don't get to see a lot of Thomas in this because he did die. But it's really nice to go back and see those moments and kind of see where the inspiration for that came from. So, yeah, that story is by Daniel Warren Johnson with colors by Mike Spicer, letters by Clan Calls. Now, the next story, Sanctuary, that one is written and drawn by James Herron with colors by Dave Stewart, letters by Clan Cowles. This is more of what happened in the early days when the Black Mask Gang and the Party Animals first ran into Absolute Batman. This one's also very violent. I really love the way that Heron draws Batman. The cape is extra long. It has those really dark inks. Really, the figures have a very specific look, especially the party animals with their masks. Um, it's incredible. It's an incredible approach. This one as well, like just like the first story, it's full of action. It's violent. In this one, Absolute Batman almost looks like an otherworldly being. The way that James Herron draws this, yeah, and it really just fits with the style, the lore, and the myth. It almost feels like this is a story that has been passed down within the party animals lore of like, yeah, this gigantic monster came in and started kicking everyone's ass, and the boss had to step in, and there was this giant fight. I love it. It really works, and it's very cool. It's great. And then to close out everything, we get one last 2-page little story that Meredith McLaren manages to really just add so much to this. It's a story about, really, it's called Learn About Bats with Meredith McLaren. But it's not just about bats, it's about Batman and his role in the city. We see the things that he's doing, we see how he's helping people out. This one's not as violent. It's, like I said, it's only 2 pages, but it's so dense in lore. Like, you get news reports, you get little, actions, but also the impact that Batman has had in the city, including people wearing the bat symbol in their, in their backpacks, in their headphones, whatever the case may be. So yeah, Meredith McLaren was the perfect choice for something like this, which really puts a very nice button on the closing of this annual. 3 amazing stories, really incredible stuff. I love this Absolute Batman annual. I can't wait to get to my shop and go check it out. I'm definitely getting that main cover by Daniel Warren Johnson because, of course, but there are other covers. So let's go take a look at those right now. All right. So as I mentioned, here's the main cover by Daniel Warren Johnson, which you've been seeing all throughout the video. Here we have this really cool Nick Dragotta black and white variant with the Batmobile. This is the Batmobile that you see. And I love how much detail there is. Like, the Batmobile is so in your face that I didn't even notice Batman was on top of it until later on. Nick Dragotta, man, just what an artist. Then we have this James Heron cover. These are all regular covers, so hopefully I can find them at the shop. I'll probably end up buying multiple copies of this book. But yeah, James Heron, once again, like I mentioned, kicking a lot of ass. The cape is just super long and flowing, and then of course the battle axe coming out, to take on the party animals. Then we have this Gerald Perel cover. This one's also just a regular cover as well. I just love the yellow background with Batman in the forefront. Yeah, this one's a lot more calm than the other two, but it really works for me too. So, like I said, I might end up leaving the shop with multiple variants. And then last but not least, Meredith McLaren with her own take, very zoomed in, but also I love the expression and the kind of like the grin that kind of shows um, through the mask here. So very very cool. And then we're back to our main cover. So this annual was fantastic. I highly, highly recommend it. It's something you can just, if you're not caught up with Batman, you can read this. Even if you've only read the first issue to try to figure out who is Absolute Batman, you can read this. It's great. It's a great, sometimes annuals have this weird thing where they try to continue the story, but this one is just a nice 3 standalone little pieces with great artists having their own little influence now in the lore. I would like to know, and maybe one day I'll get to talk to Scott Snyder. How does a book like this come about? How do they choose what kind of stories they're telling, etc.? So, as always, thank you for watching. If you have read this, let me know down in the comments. What did you think of the issue? And stay tuned because we have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. It's red, it's blue, and it's special. It's the Superman Red and Blue 2025 special number 1. Let's talk about that. Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the Superman Red and Blue 2025 special number 1. This is a one-shot from a lot of different creators. We are going to witness some of the visions of the Men of Steel in his signature colors. So there's a little bit of a restriction in the color palette. As you can see, we have a really cool cover by Chris Samney. But we're going to get into each of these stories on their own because I wanted to give them each their due. And then we'll talk about the issue as a whole. We'll take a look at some of there's only a couple of variant covers for this. So like the main cover and something else, but we'll take a look at that as well. All right. In the first story, we have Priceless. This is written by Paul Dini with art by Mirka Andolfo, colors by Eric Prianto, letters by Ariana Maher. This is a really cool story of Superman trying to rescue these little creatures, but of course that really it causes a lot of chaos. We get a really fun cameo from everyone's favorite cousin after the movie, Kara Zor-El, and also just Superman, maybe seeing him in a different kind of light. No pun intended with the red and blue, but I think it's a really fun way. I think Mirka Andolfo really captures the physicality of Superman, but also the more tender side of Superman, right? And then, of course, having to do all this with just with just the red and blue palette, I think it really, really works. Now, the next story that is by Michael Walsh. It's a story about Superman maybe missing out on some of the key moments, but still trying his best because he's being Superman. He has to help people. He has to make some appearances. He has to, he takes the time with everyone. He has to check in on Lex Luthor. Michael Walsh really captures all this. But in the meanwhile, what happens with Clark Kent? Luckily, he's got a great support system in Lois. He's got a baby at this time in this story. And then Michael Walsh's art is just beautiful. If you read anything by Walsh. Now, I will say, normally, when I read a story by Michael Walsh, they're horror stories. This one's not. This one's really nice. It's a kind of a slice of life, a look in a day in Superman's life. So that's really, really fun. All right, the next story it's called Out of the Ordinary, written by Dab Abnett, with art by Kalen Yarsky, who you may know. I've talked about Kalen's art and creativeness with the Living Hell from Dark Horse Comics. Has Alex Gumeri on colors and letters by Clem Cowell. This is more of a small story of how does Superman deal when maybe he needs to help out another reporter. This is more about somebody in a small town who's having a day that is out of the ordinary because Superman has shown up to help. Now, this approach, Caitlin Yarsky's art, is very light, especially when it comes to the coloring, the inks. You really see how she makes Superman the focus point, right? With the big red and blue. Everything else has this kind of like blue wash over it. But I think it really works because Superman is what stands out in this ordinary scenario. I mean, I really love how that comes out. You can tell Yarsky's Superman is very much inspired by David Cornswith's look. I think she even might have mentioned that on social media as she was working on this, which I didn't know she was on this book. So it turned out really fun when I got to read this preview and go into the story. So yeah, great story once again. The last story is Red Letters Days by Rainbow Rowell with art by Cian Tormey, Romulo Fajardo Jr. is on colors, letters by Dave Sharp. This is it. This is the Lois and Clark story that you want to see. How does Lois kind of deal with everything that's going on? How does Lois how do they maintain a relationship? You see some tender moments. You see him leaving away, but also what happens when Superman maybe forgets an anniversary? They're both so busy, right? Lois is running the Daily Planet, not the actual planet, and Superman is doing Superman things, but they still maintain those tender moments, and I think that's what Rainbow Rowell really captures on this one. Cian Tormey, fantastic art. There's a lot of panels where it's just like Lois' expression, and then of course the fact that you get to see them work together on a story. It's fantastic stuff. I really love this. It feels to me like this could be like a little TV sitcom type of thing where they deal with something like this in 30 minutes and then get out of the way. But always maintaining the heart of Superman. So this was a great 2025 special. Like I love these books. I love when they have these color restrictions. I think these creative artists really find ways to work with that as opposed to against it. So yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So as I mentioned, we have a main cover by Chris Samney, which I love Chris Samney's work. Like I don't, who doesn't? We do have one other cover that you can choose from at the shop. It is the Michael Walsh cover, and if you have Michael Walsh on the book, of course you should ask him to do a cover. I was hoping we might get a Kalen Yarsky cover, but I think we'll just have to live with the interiors on the book. So there you have it. That has been the Superman Red and Blue annual or 2025 special. If you have read this, let me know what was your favorite story. What do you think of the red and blue palette in across the stories? And as always, make sure to stay tuned and come back because we have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Can this group of mutants hold everything down as they are united by war? Let's talk about Expatriate X-Men number 1 in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Expatriate X-Men number 1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics from the Age of Revelation. This book is written by Eve L. Ewing with Francesco Mortarino on art, Raul Angulo on colors, letters by Rana Meher. Mortarino and Angulo on this main cover. We will take a look at some of the other variant covers later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. In this book, X years later, like the fallen and reassembled United States, the new team of Ms. Marvel, Bronze, Melee, and Rift rises. They have seized control of the Mississippi River waters that divide mutant kind from the rest of humanity. Feared and powerful, their guerrilla tactics keep them in control until a high-stakes mission to extract a valuable asset threatens to tear them apart. Can they hold together when everything else is on the line? So yeah, this book is really cool. We have a few mutants that I'm not very familiar with, including Rift, Bronze, or Melee. But we do have Ms. Marvel, and we also have Mystique as part of this cast. So that gives me enough to really be on board. Also, as you can see in the cover, we should have Colossus join at some point. Although I don't think he's really not part of this first issue. But surprises are still to come. Now, I really like Ewing's writing, both Al and Eve Ewing, right? No relation as far as I know. But Ewing has been doing some really fun stuff in the X-Men line. It was one of the series that I was trade waiting, so that's very cool. But this book recontextualizes a lot. I really like Rift. Rift has like these. It almost feels to me like a live, die, repeat type of situation where they're testing scenarios and figuring out what works to complete their mission. I think reporting to like Mystique is kind of like in this almost Nick Fury like director of like figuring out what's going on, holding things on by holding control of the war. I think that it really works. It's really fun. The art is fantastic, very dynamic, very much action packed, but also with these little moments of like, oh, we are in for it now. There's a huge big double page spread that you'll see, which really gives you a look at not just the characters that are kind of fighting here, but also the grandness of their mission. I really like a good heist or a good mission like this, which you have to be very inconspicuous. You have to be very precise. And I think the X-Men are not usually, they're not very surgical with their strikes, if you will. So, but I appreciate the stuff that's kind of come together from this book. I think, as I've mentioned in some other videos about this Age of Revelation series of books, they have very interesting concepts. They have great creative teams put together. It's just very hard to buy into the larger premise of the Age of Revelation, but this is probably one that I'll be revisiting once all 3 issues are out. I'm also planning on doing like a tier list of like the all I've read all the issues of that have come out from this wave of Age of Revelation. So I'll do a tier list of that. So let me know which ones you're enjoying, which ones you maybe would put towards the bottom, etc. Okay, before we close out the video, let's check out the covers for this. So as I mentioned, we have the main cover here already. We talked about that by the main artist on the book. We have this very cool 1 in 25 Emanuela Lupacino variant. That's really, I mean, you can see the same roster of people just arranged in a very different way. We have this really cool Joshua Cassara Revelation variant, which this might be why we haven't seen Colossus, because he's maybe stuck in space, question mark. We'll have to read more in the, to check out what's going on with Colossus really, and what's going on with his arm, because in the main cover you see that he has some kind of replacement arm. Also, Can he lose an arm like that? What's going on? I don't know. It's a lot of questions about Colossus. This is a really cool one. Daniel Francis Yu drawing Mystique as a spy, as she should be. Maybe my favorite iteration of Mystique is when she's doing spy things. And in this one, that's really kind of her role. And then also Riki Yagawa, once again, shining with another Mystique cover. Of course, Mystique, very popular character, so I can see why she gets two covers. And we're back to the main cover. But here's the one where you can see Colossus has a replacement arm, so something definitely happened to him to have lost that arm. So interesting. Want to dive into that? I like Colossus a lot. I like this team a lot, even though I've just met some of these mutants because, like I said, I'm behind on some of these X-Men books. So if they've introduced a lot of these characters in other stuff, I'm not quite there yet. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We will have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. The merc with the mouth, now mutated, hungers for other mutants. Let's talk about that in this video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Undeadpool #1. This is a new book in the Age of Revelation. A very interesting premise, this one, but let's talk about the creative team before we get into all that. This is written by Tim Seeley with art by Carlo Magno, Guru FX on colors, letters by Joe Sabino, and of course, we just follow Wade Wilson, the Merc with the Mouth, on this one. In this book, X years later, and the virus ravaging the Revelation territories has finally made Wade Wilson into what he always wanted to be, a mutant, but not like this. Not like this. Deadpool's healing factor is on overdrive, his mind a passenger in a body that hungers and cannot be sated unless he devours the life force of other mutants. His next targets are the new blood known as Fearless, Magni, Kid Man-Thing, and Fantastica. It's like Deadpool. It's a Deadpool like you've never seen him before. He not only talks a lot, he also eats a lot in this one. This is kind of the horror book in the line, which is really interesting. I think Tim Seeley is the perfect writer for this. Um, he has he has a lot of that edge that I really appreciate in a story that you need something like that for this specific type of tale. So that's really fun. I like the concept of Deadpool going through some rough patches and having to adjust in the way that he kind of experiences things. He truly is really a zombie, an undeadpool, which is a very fun concept. I think Carlo Magno does such a good job giving you the way that Deadpool's physicality has changed. He's usually very agile, limber, and of course very easygoing. Like his stance, his physical representation. But in this one, he's a lot more stiff, very different, very aggressive as well. And although we get a lot of dialogue through the narration of his inner thoughts, Deadpool, what he does on the outside and what he's doing or what he's feeling on the inside is very, very different. We also get to meet a lot of different new mutants or new characters, so that's quite fun. Now, I'm not caught up with whatever Deadpool was doing before this, so I don't know if some of these characters are new, like Fearless or Magni or Kid Man thing. Like, I don't know if those characters are new for this or if they're characters that are coming over from a previous thing. So let me know down in the comments if you're informed about where I can read more about these characters. But yeah, this book very interesting. I think I will be able to go back and check out the other two issues later on, probably when they hit Marvel Unlimited, something like that. As I mentioned, I'm really not reading X-Men books, but I am covering new #1s of the Age of Revelation to let you know how things are. And also, because in the future, I'll be doing a video where we put these into different tiers as to where I'll be reading them going forward. So, before we close out this video, let's talk about variant covers. It's a Deadpool book, so it's going to have variant covers, of course. So first we have this, as I mentioned, the main cover. I believe that was Mike McCone. Let me confirm here on the notes. That's right. We're getting a Declan Shelby cover. I said I wasn't gonna buy any, and here we go. So yeah, fantastic, fearless. Here's all those new characters along with Deadpool. I I didn't want to buy any, but man, Declan Shelby, definitely somebody that. Andres Sorrentino doing a cover as well. Goodness gracious, that is so cool. I love that he has the sword through his head and that his suit is kind of falling apart all over the place. That's really fun. Um, this is the Mike McCone Revelation variant with Revelation himself, so maybe that will explain a little bit of how we got here with Deadpool. That might be something that we explore more in the future of this book as well. Ricky Yagawa, once again, an artist that's been very prolific when it came to this event. I don't understand where this artist has been before, but man, oh man, doing some really, really great work here. Really capturing the essence of Deadpool. I will say, Deadpool's not as cheerful as it looks like in this cover. And then we're back to our main cover. Yeah, so there you have it. Undeadpool, probably a book that you want to check out sooner rather than later. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And of course, stay tuned because we'll have a lot more coverage of everything coming up in comic books, news, and maybe even some more tier rankings or explanations of the X-Men line. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of this Age of Revelation event that's going on at Marvel. And thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. What happens when Earth's mightiest heroes are also hated and feared as mutants? Let's talk about that in this video. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for X-Vengers #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics, part of the Age of Revelation line. This is written by Jason Liu with art by Sergio Davila, Rui Jimenez on inks, Rain Barreto on colors, letters by Joe Sabino, main cover by Mike McCone. We will talk about everything that's going on here. So let's talk about the synopsis first. Earth still needs the Avengers, but what happens when those who are left have transformed into mutants because of this X virus that's going on? Danny Moonstar leads a new team of Avengers, which I'll talk about in a second about the full cast, to protect the planet. But can these X Avengers protect all of Earth, including the Revelation territories? Uh, so, yeah, the virus has mutated a lot of these heroes. So now we have Danny Moonstar, who's the leader of the Avengers. You can see her here in the cover wielding Captain America's shield. There's a whole backstory to what's going on there. We have Hawkeye, who has now mutated and has multiple arms, as you can see, including maybe one of the Winter Soldier's arms, or the Winter Soldier's arm. We have Vision, who seems to be kind of fused with some technarchy technology now. We have Variable Man, who used to be Ant-Man, and we don't know exactly what's going on with him now. We have the Water Widow, Natasha Romanoff, Cannonball, nightly invulnerable while blasting, and this mutated version of Shang-Chi. A very interesting roster for sure. Very classic Avengers with the addition of, I would say, Danny and Cannonball, normally part of the New Mutants group, right? Uh, this book is bananas, and I mean that in the best way. I really enjoyed. First of all, the premise is crazy, right? Mutating individuals that already had powers, and they're still trying to protect the people. Like I said, the mantle of not really the mantle of Captain America, but just the shield and the responsibility that comes with it has been passed down from Steve to Danny, which you can read in this book as to how that happens. And then just we spend the whole first issue trying to figure out not only how people and society now feels about the Avengers now that they're mutants, but also how are they coping and dealing with their own mutations, right? While still having to try to save the world. In a world that hates and fears them, now the Avengers know what it's like to be the X-Men. Yeah, Jason Liu does such a good job at capturing all that. And it really feels like a real response to a lot of these things. The art really works. Like the designs of these characters all had to be updated to fit in this world. And I think Sergio Davila and Ruru Jimenez do such a good job with that. As far as putting everything together, uh, I'm this is probably one of the books that I enjoyed the most this week out of everything that came out when it comes to the Age of Revelation. Funny enough, this one kind of has the least to do with the actual revelation itself. It's more about what's going on in these other territories, right? So there are some books that are very much tied into Revelation and everything that Doug Ramsey's doing with his inner circle, and there are some books that just show you different parts of the world. And I think those are the ones that I'm enjoying a little bit more because the Revelation stuff, it's fun, but it's very convoluted. Yeah, in the future I'll be doing some kind of tier ranking as to how like all these titles have to come up with a system to tell you, these are my recommendations, these are the ones you should wait on, stuff like that. So uh, before we get out of here, let's take a look at some of the variant covers. As I mentioned, Mike McCone doing this main cover. We also have this very cool Greg Land 1 in 25 cover. I mean, Greg Land, very prolific artist, really over the time in Marvel, and very different art style here. I think what I enjoy most about this one is the Vision slash Warlock kind of crossover. It just really fits McCone's style. Sometimes, sometimes there's things that I'm not a big fan of, but that one I really like because it's a lot very mechanical. So next we have this really cool 1 in 50 Pablo Villalobos, Danny Moonstar. She's got the shield, she's got the axis, and then we have this Carlos Fabian Vision with the Warlock technology, as I mentioned. Really cool. I like this one a lot. Very dynamic look as well. We have Chris Campana also doing a Vision variant for this. I think Vision is the one character that the updated look really kind of fits, and it's fun to play around with because of the combination of technology. And then we have the regular cover for Pablo Villalobos with Danny in the cover, and then this one, Scott Heffern, the Revelation variant of I think the Revelation variant is kind of like a very interesting, inciting incident that happens in the book. In this case, being Captain America being gone, and now Danny Moonstar taking on the responsibility. And then we're back to the main cover. All right. So if you're reading this book, let me know your full thoughts down in the comments. Let me know what are your favorite books from this Age of Revelation rollout for Marvel. Are you excited for this? Or are you just kind of waiting for this to pass so you can jump back onto your normal X-Men line books? As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have a lot more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye. Cloak and Dagger are having long distance relationship problems. Let's talk about that in this video. Hello everyone, Danny here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Cloak or Dagger #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics from the Age of Revelation. This is part of the last batch of this new Age of Revelation from Marvel. In this book, we see X years later, Tandy and Tyrone have tied the knot, but their bond has come at a terrible cost. Now they can no longer exist on the same plane at the same time. Reunited at last, the fan favorite characters from the hit Marvel rivals face a love story warped by power and fate. This is written by Justina Ireland with art by Lorenzo Tameta, Andrew Dahlhaus on colors, letters by Joe Caramagna. We have a main cover by Mike McCone and Rachel Rosenberg, and then we'll also take a look at some of the other covers later on in the video. I gotta say, interesting that the synopsis for this mentions Marvel Rivals, because I know that's a very popular game, but it's interesting that I didn't realize Cloak and Dagger were so popular within the game. That's really interesting. So now this book has a really interesting premise, and that's been the case for a lot of these Age of Revelation issues. I love that they pick Cloak and Dagger to come back, see their relationship a little bit going forward. I think they are a very underutilized set of characters, and I think Ireland and the team really do a good job bringing them to life, giving them something very interesting to do. I think this quantum conundrum, if you will, of not being able to exist on the same plane is a lot of fun. So I like that part of this. Now, I will say this is maybe not one of the stories that I'll be diving into right away. This might be something that I wait for the collection to be completed, or at least for the series. This should be 3 issues as well, like most of these series. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna catch up on that. But I think Ireland does such a good job at just capturing their voices, introducing a new set of obstacles in the form of these siblings. Yeah, it's very fun. The art very dynamic. I really like the updated versions of Cloak and Dagger in this book. I think Tameda does such a good job of updating what they would look like, X years later. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great approach to if you're not reading too much about these characters, if you haven't gone back to check out some of their stuff, you get a lot of information here about who they are as people. Obviously, this is a little bit of a mixed bag because you're getting involved into the Age of Revelation stuff, but it's a very self-contained story to themselves, to their powers. There's a panel of Cloak that looks very, very cool. You might be seeing it in the preview art, if it's something that Marvel has officially released. So, yeah, um, I recommend this book to read. Like I said, once the collection's done, I think it's really fun. So, let's take a look at some of the covers, and then we can wrap up this video. So as I mentioned, this main cover by Mike McCone. Then we have this really cool 1 in 100 Ivan Talavera Virgin variant. So you might get to, if you like this cover, but you don't want to pay the ratio price. I think you might be able to get it with the trade dress and at a cheaper rate. We'll see. We have this 1 in 25 cover by Fan Yang. This is just a normal ratio cover. This is a 1 in 50 David Nakayama Virgin variant, so you might also be able to get this one. I like that a lot of them obviously leaning into, uh, you know, the covers selling by putting Dagger on the cover, right? We have this really beautiful Revelation variant by Corinne Howell of Cloak proposing to Dagger. So that's really fun. Although I like all the crazy stuff in the background, right? It's very telling about what's going on in this Age of Revelation. And then here's the David Nakayama variant, as I mentioned. This one has the trade dress, so this one should be a regular price. And then the Talavera cover as well should be regular price again. So if you were looking for either one of those, you should be able to find a version with the trade dress, unless you really want that virgin. And then last but definitely not least, the Ricky Yagawa, which we've been seeing a lot of work from Yagawa in this Age of Revelation. Fantastic cover artist. So I understand what they would use a lot of Yagawa's illustrations for a lot of these covers. And last but not least, we're back where we started. So Age of Revelation, still a mixed bag. Cloak and Dagger, I think one of the standout books to read just kind of on its own as its own thing. So it'll be fun to kind of catch up on that later on. So we might be revisiting this. I might have to do a look back at the Age of Revelation. We will have a one now that everything will be out this week. I'll be doing like a tier list of all the titles with just based on the number ones because I have read them all as of now. So thank you for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for that. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, which I've already said. And of course, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are getting their own annual. Let's talk about that. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we are jumping into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles annual 2025, the big annual issue from IDW that lands this week. This one's special because it does double duty. It delivers fun, entertaining turtle stories, and it also serves as the perfect bridge between the outgoing creative team and the incoming new one. This annual is written by Kenny Porter with art by Michael Sheffer, additional inks by Maria Keene, colors by Rhonda Pattinson, and letters and design by Darren Robinson. This book, after a year apart and a brutal war fought against D.A. Hale and his Foot Patrol, the four Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are finally back together, reforming their bonds. But there are shadows hanging over them from their year apart, and Donnie's still struggling to get back on his feet. Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael will need to pull this together, train, and share details of their last year in order to help their fourth brother get his second win as they reflect on the past and begin to reforge their brotherly bonds. Now, this issue really positions itself as a really nice transition point, both narratively and also behind the scenes, right? This annual's meant to be a kind of a bridge before we have the new Turtles creative team, and it paves the way for issue number 13. The annual itself kicks off with the Turtles reuniting after a year of separation. The war has left them fractured, individually and as a team. Donatello, in particular, shows that he's still recovering, both physically, emotionally, and of course, intellectually. There's a lot of stuff that happened to him. The other three brothers realize that they need to come together and share stories in that last year, train side by side again, kick some butt, and face the lingering trauma to rebuild their brotherhood. While they do that, the issue presents multiple stories in short arcs or vignettes, kind of showcasing their action, humor, training, the bond, and the deeper character moments. There's a sense of like, yeah, we're back, stronger for it, while still not ignoring everything that they've been through. So, what I like about this annual is exactly what was said here, right? It feels just like a perfect read between the creative teams. It acknowledges that the last 12 issues this past year apart, everything that happened with D.A. Hale, uh, it was very important and very much something that they're still thinking about, but still also kind of clears the deck, gives a little bit of closure and the momentum at the same time. In a sense, I think it's very narratively savvy. Um, Also, at the same time, it gives us some really entertaining stories about the turtles. The art is very dynamic. It conveys both fun in the jokes, the training, the banter, some seriousness, the trauma of the reunion. There's a mix of brotherhood, action, humor, and a lot of heart that the turtles have always excelled at its present, and I think it's very handled very well. Now, one specific standout to me is when Leonardo shares his own story, right? He goes very much deep into something that was very emotional, and he even warns the brothers, I don't know if you want to hear this story. And by giving us multiple stories, Mikey has something that's very interesting but also maybe a bit supernatural. Raphael kicks a lot of butt. So yeah, it's great stories from the brothers, and it really sets us up for the future. So if I were to offer, I would say this is a really good way to catch up. If you don't want to go back and read all 12 issues, this one really tells you a lot about kind of the reset and kind of how to calibrate going into this next arc. I really think that this is just more than just a standalone event. It's a launch pad. The creative team, the main series is changing to Jin Liu Yang and Freddie Williams. So that's going to be a lot of fun seeing going forward. But I think that an issue like this is perfect for that transition. So now, before I get into my final thoughts, let's take a look at some of the variant covers. So this is the main cover by Santo Loco. We have this other cover by Michael Shelfer. This is a 1 in 25 variant. We have this very cool 1 in 50 Kevin Eastman variant with Casey Jones, of course, who's got his own series. Make sure to go check that one out as well. Serge Acuna giving us this I really like this one. I love how the brothers are positioned, and I love Acuna's style. Very much recaptures what I love about the turtles with all their weapons and everything. Also very cool action poses. We have this Halloween variant by Jared Cullum, with the holiday coming up this week as the same week that the issue releases. And then we are back to our main cover. So in summary, The TMNT Annual is a strong pick for both longtime fans and readers who want fun, meaningful stories about the Turtles without having to dive deeply into years of continuity. It meets two different goals: entertaining you and also preparing you for what's next. So, it is the perfect read to transition between these creative teams. I would say pick it up, enjoy it, and then buckle up because the next era is coming. That is my review of TMNT Annual 2025. If you read it, drop your thoughts down below. How did you feel about the post war reunion theme, the training sequences, the shift in team dynamic? And if you enjoyed this review, make sure to hit like, subscribe, tap the bell, and I'll see you next time for another Turtles review. It looks like we're going back to Sleepy Hollow in this latest offering from IDW Dark. Let's talk about that. Hey everyone, welcome back. Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. Today I am reviewing Return to Sleepy Hollow #1, a new gothic horror that picks up the legacy of the film Sleepy Hollow and plunges us back into the shadowed valley of legend, murder, and mystery. This one's written by Casey Gelly with art by Savannah Mayer, and it is published by IDW under their imprint for IDW Dark, which is where they put a lot of their horror stories, kind of like this, very similar in tone. This is colors by Derbla Kelly and letters by Valeria Lopez. I am very much, and of course, inspired by Paramount Pictures. Uh, I was very much looking forward to this because Sleepy Hollow is one of those movies that kind of gets stuck in your head and it's really fun to revisit. So this issue is set 15 years after the events of the film, where we follow our protagonist Ichabod Crane, now a debunker of the occult, and as he's drawn back to Sleepy Hollow to investigate a new string of unexplainable murders. The issue opens in the quiet aftermath of the original Headless Horseman threat. Ichabod Crane has moved on from Sleepy Hollow, but his past won't let him rest. A frantic letter summons him back. When he returns, he finds that beneath the surface of the small town sleepy calm lies a deeper evil rooted in God's very truths and decaying bodies. The sense of dread grows slowly, the mystery unwinding with deliberate pacing rather than shocking jump scares. What I particularly like about this book is that it creates the atmosphere that it creates. The pacing very deliberately slow, letting each scene just kind of breathe after the initial kind of punch in the gut of the opening pages. It builds the tension. It lets you feel the weight of everything that's happening. It's less about chasing monsters and more about uncovering them and exploring what's going on. The art style specifically brings up that eerie vibe. The shadows are heavy, those inks, the layout's very deliberate in this mood, gothic and melancholic. Um, it's just very rich, very detailed, and it successfully captures a lot of what that film originally brought, that gothic kind of weird tone. The dialogue itself leans heavier, the detective work plays a larger role, and the world of Sleepy Hollow is treated as a character itself. The woods, the old stones, old buildings, the lingering superstition, everything that still resonates. I really like that, and it just makes the story feel a lot more immersive. Now, in terms of structure, this issue sets up multiple threads. We have Ichabod's conflict, his estranged relationship with Katrina Van Tassel, the legacy of the Horseman, and of course, a new threat that may be even deeper, and also some secrets that we may not be fully aware of. I think Savannah Mayer is excellent at giving form to the atmosphere, the vignettes, those muted palettes. Along with Kelly, the colorist. Now, this is all very much a slow pace, so there's really not a lot of action after the cold open, I will call it. So it's really fun to revisit the legacy and the idea that the past never really left the Sleepy Hollow. And of course, once again, tackling science versus superstition, right? The rational mind is still drawn once again to the inexplicable. The tone is very much the gothic, creeping dread that we had explored in the past, and visually and narratively, it really emphasizes the gloom and the weight of the story and the uneasy calm before something terrible is about to happen. Um, I really like that. Now, it's been a while since I watched the original film, but I think this really captures that very well. So, let's talk about the covers for this book before we wrap things up. So here we have the main cover, which I think it looks very cool. I like the idea of these characters kind of offsetting each other, but there are more covers here, so we'll take a look. Uh, this is the Louis de Martini's 1 in 15 variant cover. Very, very different style. This is very different from Mayer's style and inside the pages, which we also just saw. We also have this really cool Joelle Jones. Now, Joelle Jones is one of my favorite artists. She's an amazing cover artist as well. So it's really cool to see this kind of like big hero shot of Ichabod Crane. We also have a Francesco Francavilla variant because, of course, we have one. If it's a horror book, you have to call Francesco Francavilla. We have this really cool Audrey Estock variant. I'm not familiar with this artist, but I really like it. Very cool painterly style. We have the cover by Abigail Larson with the roots, which is a big part of the main story here for this one. And last but not, oh, we still have a few more actually. This is the New York Comic Con exclusive variant. So I don't know if my shop will have this one, but I like the idea of the of being a pumpkin head at the top of the Statue of Liberty. That's pretty fun. We have this John C. Lyman variant as well from PCB Hobby. So this might be an exclusive cover to a specific shop, and then the trade removed from that main cover. So, and then now we're back to our main cover by Mayer. So, in conclusion, if you like the movie, you want to check this out. If you've never seen the movie, this is still a story that is engaging and supernatural in that gothic horror kind of dread. So you want to check this out as well. It's got great art, great atmosphere, and I highly, highly recommend it. So if you have read this book, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know which cover you picked up. And if you're looking forward to more stuff like this, and if you like this review, of course, make sure to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment, hit the bell, and come back because we'll be talking about more different cool horror stories for the Halloween season and beyond. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Imagine if you could go back and experience untold stories from the first season of Supernatural. Well, now you can. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a deep dive into Supernatural #1. That's right. This is an exciting new comic book from Dynamite that brings the Winchester boys for a brand new monster hunting adventures. This one is a must read for fans of the show because it doesn't just revisit the characters, it recaptures the feel and tone of those early seasons. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Eder Macias, Thiago Brandao on colors, letters by Jeff Eckleberry. We have a really cool main cover by Clayton Crane, which you can see right here next to me. We'll also take a look at all the other covers. And if you have a keen eye and you look at that corner, you see that this is one of 17 that we have on the website loaded. Um, all right, but what is this book about? The brothers Winchester return. Get ready to hit the road again with Dean and Sam as they prowl the highways and byways of small town America in search of demonic wrongdoing to put right, set between the foundational first and second seasons of the landmark television series. The first issue, the Monster Hunters must uncover the entity responsible for a series of mysterious fires in a decaying Rust Belt town. Attacks that begin with that Windler Industries factory burning down and the escalate to the several Wendler employees themselves going up in flames. In other words, Sam and Dean are back on the road, encountering a new threat that echoes the show's early vibe: small towns, odd phenomena, horror mixed with humor, family, and the loyalty tested, and of course, the fire demon. This issue opens with a very familiar motif in the supernatural genre, and that is the boys eating at a diner It gives you that noir horror ambience, but also the brotherly banter. Immediately, you're sent back to the earlier of the show with casual one liners from Dean. He hits on the waitress, very much reluctant acceptance from Sam, and also Sam still very traumatized about everything that's been going on with him. The sense of the world being larger and scarier than they expected. When they shift to a decaying town, a factory incinerating workers, bizarre fire incidents, these are all the settings of a gritty and grounded classic early season territory. The story just keeps the pacing moderate, not a sprint, but a steady crawl forward, which allows the tone to settle, the dread to build. And that slow pacing is exactly what I enjoyed back when I was watching. It gives space for atmosphere and character rather than jump scares. Character wise, I think Sam, still wrestling with being a hunter, what it means, everything that's happened to him. In the meanwhile, we know that Dean is more hardened, but he's still very much a witty partner. The dialogue really evokes the show's early dynamic, witty, snarky, grounded in the pain of the past, of course, the absence of their father, their mother's death. The sense of legacy is definitely here. Now, artistically, Messias delivers panels that recall early Monster of the Week aesthetic, shadowy woods, long stretches of road, the eerie factory interiors, them riding around in the car. The art really fits the mood and the tone. You really feel the coldness of this small town with this menace lurking behind them, taking away the normality of their lives. There's also very clever use of horror elements, flames that don't behave naturally, bodies that don't look exactly right. There's a lot of details to suggest supernatural intervention here, but they don't really spell everything out. They don't give away the mystery, and I think that subtlety is very good. So both things combined, I think, recapture and succeed in recapturing that feel, the tone of the original season. The brother and the hunt dynamic, the small town America that they visit from episode to episode, the mix of horror, humor, and heart, which is very important to this franchise and the reason that it lasted for so long. If you remember those earlier episodes where Sam and Dean just jump from town to town chasing the weird, this issue nails that vibe all the way till the last page. So yeah, there's a lot of really fun things here. As the brothers hit the road once again, I love to see their banter, and it's really really cool. Now, this series marks the 20th anniversary of the original TV show, which launched back in September of 2005, and it pays an homage to them returning to the road. We're gonna take a look at some of those covers now. So I think setting this between season 1 and 2 really allows the creative team to explore some of those untold adventures where it was really less of a major arc going throughout the season and more of a week to week adventure. So, as I mentioned, this first cover is by Clayton Crane. You get the Impala, you get the brothers, and then, of course, the Fiery Demon. Next, we have this really cool cover B by David Cousins. Really fun, very much stylized, very different from the original cover as well. We also have this Eder Macias. This is the interior artist. So if you are enjoying this cover, this is what you're gonna get on the interiors. I really like the very much stylized, a little bit of almost anime type of vibes that we're getting with this one. I would love a long running supernatural animated series as well. Then of course we have a photo cover. It's good to see the boys back. I might end up getting this one, maybe get it signed at some convention in the future. Supernatural Con really runs the gamut across the con circuit. Then we have the main cover, but it's going to be in foil, a Virgin variant cover of Clayton Crane's work. We also have the blank cover because, of course, you need to have a blank cover. And then, of course, the metal Virgin variant, the photo variant as well. That's interesting. I don't know that I would just get the photo variant without the trade dress. A black and white variant for Messinas. This is a foil of the photo. So Dynamite really going all out with all these variants. A lot of these are just the same, but these are either virgin or foil or both, or black and white, as you can see here. And then there's a mystery variant blind bag. Here we go again with the blind bags. Uh, Go check out our full show on comic book gimmicks to see if we smash or pass on the blind bag. And then last but not least, we are back to our main cover. So Final thoughts here. Supernatural number one is a strong entry for fans of the show and newcomers alike. It doesn't just ride the nostalgia, it uses it intelligently by bringing back that early season one tone, small towns, weird occurrences, road trips, family bonds. The creative team does an excellent job blending all these things together, the horror, the humor, the heart. If you like the original show and the early episodes where Sam and Dean solve the weird, but also the wider myth arc loomed, this comic really fits the pacing, the atmosphere, everything contributes to this early season's feeling, which is exactly what I think a lot of fans have been hoping for in a comic book like this. If you have been missing that feeling, you want to pick this up. And if action is your only draw, it might grow into a more rapid pace in the future, but for now, strong setup, great tone, and a promising road ahead, both figuratively and literally in this story. That is my review of Supernatural number one. If you have read it or you plan to read it, drop your thoughts in the comments down below. And how did you feel about the tone of this, the brother dynamic, the horror setup? And also, if you like this review, make sure to hit like, subscribe. Do not miss the next time when we dig into other comic books and maybe even issue number two if enough of you like this video. So thanks for watching, everyone. Bye bye. Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done.